Well, this shows the resistance against fascism. There's some words I don't understand, and it says we will not drop the weapons against fascism, let's say. Um, Quite interesting. I don't know the history exactly of this place, but it is a very, very historical part of the country. Unfortunately, most of it lies abandoned nowadays, and it's a very sad sight often to see the villages in the west, but it is interesting as well. Let's check it out. Approaching the church and what looks like a school next to it. I see it more often in western Bulgaria, not necessarily in other parts, that the school is next to the church. There's probably some reason for that. It's the same in the village of Vaksevo, and my guess is that always there was a church first, and then came the Povnonchalny Uchilishta, which are the first schools of Bulgaria, and often they were led from initiatives by the church. And that's why I suppose often the older churches have schools next to them. And there could have been very old schools that are then replaced by newer ones, such as this one, which is without a doubt from the communist era. It has been completely ravaged. I'm sure there's nothing left inside. See? An old desk. Here we see a stage, which has been for performances, and everything else has been either destroyed or taken, so there's nothing much left to see in here, I suppose. And I don't really go inside anyway anymore. I've stopped doing that. The church, being quite old as well, has an open bell tower too, which, as I said, is common in the west of the country. The church is most likely closed, but I can at least admire the outside. It has a renovated roof, probably from communist times. Might need a renovation soon again. It has some graves around it. That's often on the back side of the church, which is quite common all over Bulgaria actually. It's always on the back, directly on the building. You have the main patrons of the church. The text has been weathered away. Often the back has a little cross window, and we see these murals on there as well, which is a common feature all over the country. This church is not necessarily unique for the region, let's say. You find these even around Plovdiv. Anyway, it's nice to see. I suppose this one is not very, very old. Although, who knows? Really, who knows? Yeah, no chance to get in here. Unfortunately, it's been blocked or sealed. I suppose it is in need of renovation. The village is in bad shape. I'm not going to show too many abandoned things because it would just sadden the viewers, I suppose. The thing is that I want to leave a nice impression of Bulgaria as a holiday country, and I'm not going to show ravaged buildings. You might know from, or at least not too many, you might know from other videos of mine that Bulgaria suffers from depopulation, and then I'm not going to put lemon juice inside the wound, let's say. I want to highlight the spiritual parts, the good sides, the very deep emotions that this country offers. Part of that is sadness as well, because the country has been plagued by tragedy. But a big part of that is also relaxation and coming to your senses, and that's the part that I mean to show my viewers. On the road to the next destination. A beautiful little spot here. The final monastery of the day is here, the Pantaleimon monastery, which is literally in the middle of nowhere. I've never ever been here. It's next to some older reconstructed houses. It looks a bit out of place because it's completely modern. There's probably been a church here before, and that's now been replaced probably. This is the Klepalo, which when bells were prohibited, I suppose during the Ottoman era, they had Klepalos, which is something you can make noise with a hammer when you hit on it. And that's how you tell the time or call for prayer, let's say. There's people living here, obviously, in the monastery, and it's the residence of this gentleman. These people are always very friendly, so you shouldn't be shy to say hi or ask them questions. That's always welcome. Right, at least the inside is closed. Too bad I can't get in, but it's quite modern, so the older ones have my preference. There's no gate, perhaps it's still being made or in construction, so at least I could get in here. That's something. It's a beautiful sunset, and I'll go back to the car, and I'll go to Kustendeel. Where am I? I am in the Pernik region, which has actually a lot to see. It's like the least favorite tourist destination in the whole of the country, even though it's next to Sofia. But there is a lot to do, trust me. I am now somewhere here. Yeah, here. There is a lot to do, especially in Zemen, which is very nice. Zemen is right here. There's a really cool monastery, which I'm not going to cover now because I've already been there. You see, it's relatively close to Sofia, so come check it out. Just 30-40 kilometers.